going on, guys? It's Nerds and Food Podcast back with another episode. Today is special. It's been a very long time coming. It's been, I want to say, over a year and a half, give or take, from when we initially met. I'm Gasparo. Today, we don't have Young Dre with us because he is doing something with his life. I don't know. But we do have another very much appreciated friend and guest on the show by the name of Tamago.
What's up? How you guys doing? Yo, very happy to be here. It's been a long time. You're right. Very long time.
You're a busy guy. You were in LA last year as well. Is that right?
Yeah, right before travel was banned. I was in LA. It was a great time.
We so for a bit of backstory, we met at VidCon in 2019. Again, before everything kind of happened in terms of like COVID and everything. So we met at Summer in the City during a Cineworld event at Summer in the City. We were in the lounge and everything. We just started talking. It was really cool. Like I honestly I think you're a super cool, chill dude.
I appreciate that, man.
There's no two ways about that. Like when you came in, you were friendly, and it's nice because you meet some influencers, some famous people. And luckily for me, when it comes to famous people, I haven't come across anyone that's been rude or like, you should know me or anything like that. Some influencers, it hasn't been as lucky for me. They get a bit entitled, I believe, but you are super down to earth. And that was really nice and refreshing.
Yeah, no, actually, even like meeting you guys, because I was kind of walking around the convention center and I was like, all right, I've kind of seen what there is to see here. I don't know. I guess I'll just go upstairs to the lounge area. And to see you guys there, I was like, yo, like, and it was a cinema thing, and you had that popcorn. I was like, I can actually chill out here.
The popcorn was a selling point.
Nah, man, like for real, like it was a super chill meeting you guys. Like honestly, I would say that meeting you was like one of the highlights of Summer in the City for me. No exaggeration. No exaggeration. So yeah.
Much appreciated. Much apprecited. No, it definitely, the feeling, like I say, is very much mutual. So we're just gonna jump into some questions, like normal, not interview stuff. It's a general basic conversation. The guys who watch and listen know what it's about. I did want to talk about, because obviously you're a bit outside of what we would normally do on the podcast, which is kind of more social discussions about like comics, anime, music, and stuff like that. You are a YouTuber. Is that accurate in saying?
Yeah, no, definitely. I would call myself a YouTuber.
Would you call yourself an influencer?
I guess that would be an industry term. I typically don't refer to myself as that. I prefer like content creator, I guess. I don't know. The way I see influencer, I would see it as someone who's focused on maybe trying to get their audience to do things like buy certain products. Whereas for me, I'm very much more about like actually making content and having the viewers enjoy that. So that's how I would differentiate the two.
Right. I was having this conversation with my player too, whom you also met at Summer in the City back in 2019. And she also has that kind of difference as well. And I think it's a thing where all content creators are influencers, but not every influencer is a content creator. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree.
Because she made that point a while ago, and I was like, it's the same thing in my head, because you're doing the same thing. Like in terms of, you're on a platform, you are influencing something, if that makes sense. So you do have that kind of pull. And definitely I've seen your channel grow when it was already big when we met, and it's grown even more now, which is just crazy. And the thing that happened with the lady that went to Dubai.
Right,
And we had a discussion about that, because she obviously knows a lot of influencers and content creators and so on. And like one of her influencer friends were a bit like, I don't want to be grouped together with those people, because a lot of us are staying home and, whatever. And like, I want to be a content creator or an actor or whatever the situation is. And to be fair, it's something that I've struggled with as well, because my whole thing with this Nerds and Food podcast and my YouTube channel is creating conversation. And it's been a struggle with being an influencer versus a content creator, if that makes sense. So it's something that I've thought about. Do I want to influence? Which, yes, I do. but do I want to be an influencer? I'm not going to say no, but definitely creating content is what I really enjoy, which is why I love the podcast, because it creates a conversation around content that's created.
Yeah.
What I wanted to kind of get into as well is like, how did you get into YouTube? What made you want to do that?
Right. See, now that's like a super interesting question to ask right now, because 2 days ago was marked 10 years since my first YouTube video. So, you know, it's been quite a while. And yeah, you know, the way I started out as an animator on YouTube, right? So I would make animations in a program called Pivot Stick Figure Animator. I'm not sure if
I've
you're familiar.
seen the videos, but like at the time I would have done the program or anything. But yes, I'm a huge fan of stick figures because of things like Newgrounds, stuff like that. So big fan.
Yeah. So I was like really into stick figure fights. You know, you have stuff like Flying Panda 1990 or Hyun. That's like what he was by now. And that's the stuff which inspired me. And just seeing other animators on YouTube, especially like the storytime animators like Swoozy, you know, stuff like that just inspired me. And I was making animations for a while. And eventually, you know, I got into other sorts of things. I also was inspired by Philip DeFranco, and I wanted to do kind of vlogs about trending news or whatever. But, you know, being a 12-year-old, I didn't I didn't have the most developed opinions on news or anything. So I'd just talk about movies that were coming out and stuff like that. And yeah, so I was really into YouTube. You know, I watched a lot of YouTube as a kid, and I wanted to be like the people I watched. So I was just making stuff. That's pretty much what it was. And as I got older, you know, I think like my skills just developed, and, you know, I feel like if you're getting to a point where you're doing something for like 4 or 5 years, then it means, okay, you know, I must be really into this thing. Because, you know, it's no one pushed me to do it. I was just kind of doing it out of my own accord with like very supportive mom and sister who were just like always egging me on.
That was going to be my next question, is how did they feel?
Right. I'll get more into that as well. But yeah, you know, it's one of those things where I started and I kind of just didn't stop.
It was organic.
And so it's just kept building up like that.
No, I like that. It's interesting how your trajectory was animation at one point because of where you're into, then it just kind of grew into reviews, I guess you could say. And then the content that you make right now it's from what I've gathered of what I've seen, it's very review based. But there's more that goes into it. It's not just the review. It's kind of like a technical side to it as well. I recently watched the Simpsons trilogy, because you reviewed like 3 separate games, if I'm right.
Yeah.
And I remember, because I'm significantly, to a degree, older than yourself. So I remember playing those games, but also playing, say, Tony Hawk's, and you referenced that in the Simpsons skateboarding.
Right.
And how they already had the blueprint for the game, but it's still trash. Because I remember playing that game. I remembered, I was like, this isn't fun. I remember playing a bit of Simpsons Hit and Run, and that was okay, but I wanted to play GTA.
Yeah.
So I played GTA instead.
That makes sense.
Like, your reviews of those games were like, yeah, it's trash, like as far as skateboarding was concerned for Simpsons. But Hit and Run is a great game and a great world creation of Springfield. And I thought that was hilarious. It was wonderful. And like, sorry, continuing back to what you're saying, your family, you said they were supportive of this. Would you say it's more based on the fact that you got into it when you were 12, or they just saw it as a hobby and it just kind of grew, or?
Well, yeah, I guess like I've kind of just been lucky to, you know, be in an environment where whatever I was doing was always encouraged, which I think is like super important for kids, you know, I would say like, especially when you come from an African background, it's quite typical for people, your parents to be like, hey, focus on your studies, you know, don't get too distracted, you know. And I was a very academic kid too. And I think one of the things which helped was that, you know, I always made sure to do well in school and prioritize that, and then do the YouTube thing on the side. So as long as it was never hindering, you know, my schoolwork, you know, they were cool with it. And I recognized the turning point where the question that my mom would ask me would go from, you know, oh, make sure that you're not spending too much time on the YouTube thing. You're not getting distracted from school, are you? And then eventually the question started being, when are you gonna make your new video? It's been a while. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, damn, okay, sure. I guess I'm making some progress here. But yeah, my sister's been super supportive as well. She got me my first animation pad, which I used to make my videos. Well, she got it for herself, but then I
but you used it.
I appropriated it. Yeah, it's mine now. So yeah, and my mom got me my first microphone as well. So they were helping me quite a lot.
No, that's really cool, because my journey in terms of YouTube is very much broken up into different pieces, and I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this on the podcast at least somewhat. The reason being is because I started on YouTube back in 2006, so like a year after its birth. No. I as an individual, but as YouTube, it depends on what we're talking about.
Right.
So I started making anime music videos, AMVs, because they're actually what got me into anime. Because I just was not interested in any way, shape, or form. I loved animation, but there was nothing that made me go, I want to see this. And at the time, there was no real place to go. But my friend showed me a bunch of music videos with Linkin Park, obviously, because you can't have an AMV somewhere without watching a Linkin Park one if you're into that kind of music.
Right.
And all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I started getting into Naruto, and I watched a bit of Dragon Ball, but didn't have the channel for it, and a bunch of other anime. So I started doing it, made music videos, and then roughly about 2007 is when, about 2006 to 2007, around that time period, YouTube started to crack down on the music use, getting strikes in the videos and stuff like that. So I stopped, and then at another point I lost the internet. So I didn't do anything up until, I want to say 2015.
Wait, sorry, when you say you lost the internet, as in like your internet just cut out?
I grew up poor, okay?
Oh, right.
Has no money.
Okay.
So we didn't have the internet for a while, and then by the time we got it back, and it just wasn't going anywhere. So I didn't do anything YouTube-wise in terms of producing content up for about 11 years, 10 years, give or take. So 2015, I'm deciding to let me get into this because my friend was saying for ages, dude, you need to do YouTube, comics, video games, whatever, just Let's Plays are big and everything. And then I was like, I don't know, I might not. And then my girlfriend was like, yeah, you should do it. I'm like, all right. So got that. I got an Elgato, HD60, and then I started recording stuff and doing reviews on that. Like I reviewed Mortal Kombat, Injustice 2, and all that kind of stuff. But nothing just kind of felt well. The sound quality was horrible. And then I decided to do different style of reviews, which is kind of more traditional. I think you sit the camera, you review the movie, and because of my Cineworld connection, I saw a lot of movies early. Right. So that I was able to do that and get it out for when the NDA released and everything. So that's kind of where it's been. But that's my trajectory. It's been different. And I haven't posted on my YouTube in almost a year because I haven't had that drive for it. Nothing's made me go, I want to do that. So this is, I think probably, around February time, March time of 2020 was the last time. And even at VidCon, I was like, cool, I can use so much content, but I'm also very lazy. So a lot of that is definitely on me, but I'm going to get back into it, especially with WandaVision coming out now and everything.
Yeah.
So it's definitely worth a lot of the content that's doing. Speaking of content creating and so on, the equipment that you use, like you said, you got your mic from your mom and your pad from your sister and stuff.
Yeah.
What kind of equipment do you use for those like starting out? What would you say is kind of a good thing to go to?
Right. I mean, yeah, I see it's kind of different nowadays compared to how it was back then. Because back then you couldn't just, when I say back then, I'm not even talking about that long ago. Like, let's say 2012, 2013.
It's still a while ago.
yeah, still a while ago, to be fair. But yeah, you had phones, but they weren't that great, especially if you're a kid. You don't have like the latest phone. Whereas nowadays, I would say your phone is pretty much your number one tool you can use. You can record the videos with your phones. The audio won't be amazing,
and good
but
quality
it will be decent
enough.
Yeah, the quality will be absolutely fine. Like the video quality, you can get a cheap stand or even just place it up on a book or something, and you can record videos. So like, I would say that for someone who just wants to record straight up like face cam videos. But for me, starting out, it's really interesting. Like I guess it's what you'd expect, but my equipment just leveled up. So I started with the cheapest stuff. I had a Logitech microphone that was, I think, £17 from Amazon. And that's what I used for the first like 2 or 3 years. I didn't have a camera. So that's actually another reason why I focused more on animation, because, I didn't have a camera that was great quality. And also being a kid, my mom didn't really want my face out there on the internet too much.
Of course.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
I did a couple of vlogs here and there, but nothing, you don't want to be.
Yeah.
There are creeps online. You got to avoid it.
Be careful, everyone who is online.
Yeah. And yeah, like over the years, I remember for, I think, my 15th birthday, I got a Blue Snowball microphone. So that was my first upgrade in equipment.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And it's crazy how like that's still such a household name now. Like the Blue Snowball, people are still like buying it now. It's like it shows that it's a really good product. And that's I would say that's a lower range microphone. And then in 2017, I got an Audio-Technica A2020, and I would say that's a mid-range. That was around £100.
When you start saying numbers and microphones, that's when you know
they're getting good. That's when you know. Yeah, and the mic I have now is called the RE20. So that's like, yeah, you're right. When it starts getting into numbers, that's when you know you're leveling up.
That's elegance right there.
Exactly. So yeah, I was just bit by bit increasing the quality of the setup.
I definitely agree that like right now, because there was a point when I was using my phone for my YouTube videos and it records at 1080 and like 720, depending on the quality once I finish editing and so on. So being able to start up now is so much easier than it was probably even say, like you say, 7 years ago. Because trying to do it when I was starting up, you needed an actual camera to be able to do something, because your phone camera wasn't doing anything and it didn't connect to the internet. So there was nothing to do at that time, and
you couldn't even record for that long either.
No,
phones,
5-10 minutes
gigs,
if
maybe,
you were lucky.
Yeah.
It's like on the PS1 back in the day, and they had 8 megabytes, and that held everything you ever needed.
Yeah, man.
And now you have 128 on a phone as a regular 32 gigs and stuff. And it's
freaking crazy.
Things have definitely changed. And I was actually talking to a player too, not too long ago, or one of my friends, something about how if a guy was like in prison from like, say, 95, like, because by then most things were out, you did have cell phones and everything, but like you come out in 95 and then you come out in like, say, 2015, that's a long period of your life. And how phones have changed, and they're basically your computer, your navigation, your calculator, your internet, and everything just in one thing that you can carry outside. It is crazy, because I was thinking like, I can't think of what is going to be the next big thing that's going to change our world. You know what I mean?
Yeah, same. I want to see what it's going to be.
I can't wait. I think VR might be like proper, like real VR as we imagined in the 1980s. Well, I say I wasn't born, but still. From the movies that I've seen in the 1980s, that kind of VR, but like Oculus is doing a lot of stuff with that. So I imagine that's probably going to be the next big thing that's going to be like a part of gaming or even just recreation stuff. I think that's the direction that we should go in, because that'll be very interesting, like being able to travel in that way.
That immersion, definitely. I can't
absolutely.
Wait. I can't
like wait. With 40X in the cinema, but like, have you gone to 40X before?
Do I know 40X correctly? Is that where, the chair moves around and it's like I saw X-Men Days of Future Past in that experience. And
no, I can imagine that was good. Player 2 had Alexander Shipp, who's Storm, Evan Peters, and I can't remember his name, but the guy who plays Cyclops in the later movies, in the prequel movies, I guess you could say, for Days of Future Past and Apocalypse and stuff like that, in a 40X for Phoenix, which... Anyway, we won't talk about Phoenix. We won't, just in case one day I meet Evan Peters and so on, or anyone, just in case.
Yeah, just in case. You don't want to cut off any ties right now.
To be fair, I think I did a review of it and it wasn't very friendly. So thank you for that wind of that. But speaking of YouTube stuff and the progression of just overall internet, socially, YouTube Black was a thing and is a thing. How did that idea for YouTube come around? Was it something prior to last year's events, because it did kind of come out a bit after that, if I'm correct.
Right.
Was it inspired by that, or was it planned before and it was just a happy coincidence that it happened at that time?
Yeah, with YouTube Black, so there was the announcement video last year in October, which was really cool to be a part of. Filming that was a great experience. But it was actually already a thing. It was definitely a thing the year before. I'm not sure if it was the year before that, but essentially YouTube has been trying to uplift Black creators from the UK. Well, it's like worldwide now, but I think originally I only knew it to be a thing that was happening in the UK. And just hosting events for Black creators to network and just uplift one another, and sort of try and combat the biases which can happen on a platform, depending on the country you're from, where non-Black creators may get like more of an advantage based on just the demographics of the country that you're creating in. So I think it's a cool thing that YouTube is putting together, and just trying to give people opportunities.
I like that, like the idea of that. I can imagine some people might be, for lack of a better word, offended by it, but to get a little bit political for a moment, the default is the default in terms of social media and so on. So sometimes you do need that uplift to show the face of something. And I've said numerous times on the podcast that that's literally my reason for doing the podcast. Is I hadn't seen a lot of Black people talking about the topics that we talk about on here in this type of format.
Right.
So it tends to be like reactions from music or things of that manner. Some comics, but anime isn't really presented that way. Talking about food, and the way that we do was about showing Black faces doing this. Coincidentally enough, the guests that I've also had on the show have been of Black descent and Latino descent. So yourself and my previous guest, we're all Black, but it's not an exclusionary podcast. It just so happens that it's been that way. So if anyone else does want to come on and has the time, I'm here for it. It's about creating a conversation and having fun at the end of the day, regardless of Black, white, pink, or whatever. So I definitely have the idea of YouTube Black, and I think it definitely helped a lot of people. I wish I was creating at that time, because it definitely would help give me a boost, but things happen and whatever. With that, I've been TikToking, which you are on, but you're not very active on that. Why is that?
So TikTok, it's a freaking powerhouse of a platform, right? Like, you can go on there intending to spend 5 minutes and then spend 3 hours, and it felt like 5 minutes. So it's it's just an incredibly well optimized platform. Their For You page is perfect. And I would say in December, I was intentionally going on TikTok just to kind of get an understanding of the platform, because I didn't get it really before then. And after I used it for a bit, I was like, okay, I get this platform. Now for me, I posted 2 TikToks, and one of them is a stream highlight. So it's just a video from Twitch that I uploaded to TikTok. And I posted one original TikTok, which did like way better than I was expecting. It got like 300,000 views, and I had like no followers on TikTok. So I was like, okay, like their discovery algorithm is.
But your name is pretty big though. So people would go from Twitch or YouTube and then search for you on that possibly. So the algorithm would definitely look into that as well.
No, that's true. I guess like the reason I haven't created a lot of TikTok content is because the content I focus on is more, long form in terms of how much work goes into it. I research, I write scripts, I record voiceovers, and I edit these videos. And that's like my bread and butter. That's the way I like to do it. TikTok is more about trends. I would say it's like one of the most trend-heavy platforms. Very much. And in order to really do well with that, you kind of have to be spending a lot of time on TikTok and recognizing, okay, this is the new trend. Let me make a video where I lip sync this or do that. And so if I was like super into TikTok, let's say I wasn't that into YouTube, but I was always on TikTok, I'd definitely be making more. TikTok is definitely a platform where it favors people who make videos for that ecosystem. You can't really just take content that would be better suited for YouTube and then just put it on TikTok and expect to do well. You have to make TikTok content, and that takes time. Like
Definitely.
these TikTokers, it might seem like what they're doing is really easy, especially when they're just doing this and it's like, how did they have so many views? But it takes the time that they're putting is understanding the platform. And I'm just not putting that time in because I don't want to. So
well, you've got yourself YouTube. That's where you're comfortable. That's your home, and it makes sense. I mean, you've definitely got room to grow on YouTube. And you're absolutely right in terms of the content that you make is not suited to Twitch. It's like you said, it's very long formatted. It's about the journey that you're on, whereas TikTok is very much the new generation. It's very much, I want it now, I want it quick, and then I'm going to go to the next one. It's very trend heavy, like you said. So I get it. I think you could do very well on there if you kind of like just talk on there. Some people just get on there and say, this is blah, 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 and they have a conversation and that's it. And that gets a lot of views. So I was struggling, again, as always, to find what am I doing? What's my niche as everything that I ever go to and trying to figure out how to get your following and your community is finding your niche. So I tried talking about work, which did work a little bit, did a couple skits, but recently I've just talked about comic books, manga, movies, MCU and stuff like that. And that's been working. I've gotten consistent views, consistent likes and comments, engagement.
That's great.
So that's working, and I've gathered more followers as time's gone by. I don't have a lot, but I see the progression in what I'm doing in terms of I'm interested in this topic, and that's my niche. So whether it's my skin tone that works in my favor in this situation of finding someone that looks like them or doesn't look like them, my accent, whatever it is, or if it's trending topics, it's working, and I'm not going to complain.
Right.
So,
that's great, man.
But I definitely feel that it's an avenue that you could work on to create another stream of, well, money. Like, I think that's something that works. But again, it works through sponsors because TikTok right now isn't doing commercials and things like that. But it's another avenue that I definitely think you could look into for sure.
Yeah, no, TikTok's very, very exciting. So I would like to get on it properly. Yeah. Sure.
I think you could make mini content as well, like just like a short 1 minute review type thing, and then say find out more on YouTube kind of thing.
Yeah.
Diversifying everything.
Yeah.
With speaking of like the MCU and stuff like that, are you watching anything at the moment in terms of comics or anime?
So I hear about all the shows out on Disney Plus, right? I'm hearing a lot about WandaVision right now as well. And apparently, like what is this? This is the 8th of February. Apparently the last episode that went out was absolutely crazy. Something nuts happened. And so I'm thinking, bruv, do I have to watch WandaVision now? Because I'm like, all these people are talking about this nuts thing that happened. I'm like, I kind of want to know. But it's just like a time thing where it's like, I don't know if I can get into a show right now. But the way people are talking about that last episode, I'm just like, because I'm super hyped about MCU stuff. Like freaking Endgame, Infinity War. I was literally screaming in the cinema. So
it was wonderful. It was so good.
Legit. So I'm just like, if people are talking about this, I might have to check it out.
I hear that.
But yeah, right now I'd say the last MCU thing I really watched was Spider-Man Far From Home. I think that's accurate. So
that was the last one, so you're good.
Right, yeah.
That was Far From Home was the last one. So yeah. Yes. Without kind of saying anything at all. Yes, WandaVision, it suffered from this, for me anyway, and I think a couple of my friends agree with me as well. It suffers from this isn't what we expected, but then it became what we expected. That kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
So the first two and a half, 3 episodes were very artsy. I don't know if you know anything about how the show was designed. But it was
all I've seen is that it's kind of in black and white and it takes place in the I don't know, 60s or something. I'm not too sure.
It starts off in the 50s, then 60s, and so on. Like there's a time progression within the show that it'll make more sense when you watch it. Because if you've seen the trailers, you kind of have an idea. And like I watched and did a couple breakdowns of that. So I understood what was going on, and I appreciate the artistry of it and the shows that it was referencing and so on. But if you didn't appreciate that and you were there just for like some just straight up MCU stuff, you weren't going to be happy, that kind of thing. So if you go in with right mindset, I guess, or a non-mindset, it's more acceptable.
Yeah.
But yeah, the last episode of WandaVision, episode 5, I think it was that did some things and some stuff. And yeah, it was wonderful. Like, it was just, hopefully it's something that does pan out and it's not just a thing in the show. But anyway, sorry, I'm diving too much.
No, I've got to check it out. And definitely. You know, I try to go into most things with no expectations. So I don't think the whole artsy thing, like, I've watched movies that just straight up don't make sense. So so yeah, no, I think I'm gonna check it out.
Okay, that's dope, man. Like, I still really appreciate it. I think it's really good. I just finished Mandalorian season 2, which was very good. That too. Have you seen it?
I have not seen it. That's another one. See, the thing is, now there's 2 seasons to catch up on. I'm just like, bruh.
It's true.
And so many shows I'm already watching.
Though. Sorry?
I just said, in so many shows I'm already watching as well. So
what are you watching right now?
Better Call Saul. I obviously, with the pandemic, they haven't been able to release the latest season this year. We'll see when that comes out, but it's going to be the last season, so I'm super hyped.
Isn't it season 5 or something like that? Season 4?
Yeah, season 5, I believe. That's the one we're waiting on, right?
Okay.
And freaking Ozark. My sister tried
season
so hard.
3 came out last year.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's right. My sister tried to get me into that show. She showed me episode 1. I was like, it's all right. She showed me episode 2. And she just kept trying and trying. And then the third time she tried, I was like, okay, you got me hooked. This show is amazing. Yeah. And I get what other shows? I can't even remember, but those are the 2 ones that are freshest in my mind.
Yeah.
I watched The Sopranos last year as well. So some older shows too.
I've never seen The Sopranos. Player 2 is just giving me food.
Oh, well, hello to her.
Tom says hello. She waves back. She doesn't want to be on audio right now. Yeah, I haven't watched Ozark, but I know about it and I like Jason Bateman. What I appreciate from what I've seen is that he's not typical Jason Bateman, who's kind of like the likable, friendly guy in a lot of the things that he's in. And I had just finished Breaking Bad when the first season had come out. So it was like, watch a show like Breaking Bad, which is kind of family orientated, where it's not the norm of what they're doing. So that was interesting because he's an accountant for a drug gang or something like that. Is that right?
Yeah. He's a money launderer, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something different that was interesting. I wanted to watch Better Call Saul and I never did. And I like Giancarlo as well. He's wonderful. So and I was watching something, I can't say what it is, just in case people might watch it, but he was watching something and he was not a nice person. And I realized that in a lot of things, he's not a nice person, but I still like him because the actor is so charismatic. I'm like, this isn't fair. I'm meant to dislike you, but I want you to win because of your actor. But yeah, what else have I been watching? No, Mandalorian, WandaVision. I've been watching The Walking Dead, season 9 of The Walking Dead, and I was finishing season 8, and I realized I'd seen a lot of it already, but I just continued, and I was like, this is why I didn't continue watching, because I got bored.
Right.
Because season 8 dragged it. It was doing. Have you finished it?
I watched seasons 1 to, I want to say 7. But
with
I had
Negan,
to drop
basically.
out. Okay, right before Negan. So is he in season 7? I watched the one right before he entered the show, basically.
Oh, if anything, watch the first episode of when he gets in there. That episode is wonderful. So you saw the part when they were being trapped at the end of season 6, I believe. And they're kind of going around, and then they end up in the area where he's whistling, and he has the bat, right?
Right. I know what happens after that as well.
But watch the episode.
Okay, yeah.
By this point, if people don't know what happened, it's a problem if they're into it. But yeah, no, that episode was really good. But after that, it started to drag, because my interest in The Walking Dead is very much about the survival with the zombies, right? And then it kind of became more the human element, which is a natural progression. I get that, but it just kind of felt like it became more about the action rather than the survival. Right. Season 9, however, feels like it's gone back to its roots about being survival, dealing with zombies and also people. So I think this season is looking a lot better. There's been a time skip as well. anytime there's a time skip, it kind of refreshes a show, I think.
Right.
Because
How
it
much
allows
time?
you to, I want to say probably, it could be about 5 years. I'm really bad at telling age.
Okay,
So
yeah,
I'm
but
basing it on something else that actually, if you got that far, you know Judith, right?
I can't remember because it has been a few years, but
Doesn't matter. It's
okay.
not really a spoiler, but Judith, the character, is older, and I'm basing her age on that, but I'm also really bad at telling age.
Okay.
So I think it could be anywhere from a year to much more. So who knows? I had an alarm set, so we got about 10 more minutes to go, so we're good.
All good, all good.
Yeah, so but it's really good so far. And then I'm gonna start Fear the Walking Dead, which is like 6 seasons. And then Walking Dead Beyond World, which is a third thing as far as Amazon has come out. So I'm gonna be on a zombie dive for a while. I'm also watching Naruto. I'm on season 7, so 7 out of 9. I'm like halfway through 7. Watching Attack on Titan.
I've heard so many good things about Attack on Titan. No, I don't watch any anime. I watched the first episode of Attack on Titan like 5 years ago, and I really liked it. But I think during the time it was I was revising for exams, so I just didn't continue it, and then I never got back into it. And I watched halfway through Death Note. I was watching it with my sister. But yeah, I think for some reason like we stopped watching it, and then she like finished it without me, and I didn't finish it. So that's my only anime experience, unless you count Pokemon, but I don't know.
Oh, definitely counts. That's
Pokemon. Okay,
absolutely. Yeah. Many people, like a lot of people, tend to say that Dragon Ball is an anime. I'm like, but it is. Like, there's no denying it. It may not be the best anime with the best plot or whatever, but it is that, and Pokemon, I would say, are the reasons why, some like the biggest reasons as to why anime is so big over here. People love Dragon Ball, people love Pokemon, and then obviously you've got other things like Digimon and so on. But I think those two are definitely some of the biggest factors as to why now anime is where it is in the Western world. Speaking of Death Note, it took me roughly, I want to say about 10 years, actually more, about 13, 14 years to actually finish that show. The reason being is that I started back when it came out originally, and then lost the internet. And I just never watched it again. Even after that time period, I was like, cool. And I thought I had only like 4 more episodes, but it turns out I was only like halfway through. So I eventually finished it. I want to say 2019, could have been, I think 2019 is when I finished it, and I enjoyed it. It's a good show. I think Death Note is a good show to like watch if you're getting into anime and if you're not really used to it. But also because of other elements, it could be a bit weird. But I enjoy it, and that's all that really matters. If I enjoy it, for me. Is there any anime or TV shows or anything of that matter that you'd like to get into?
I do actually want to watch Attack on Titan because I follow a lot of YouTubers that make, I don't know if I'd say they make anime content, but do you know RDC World? Like they're always hyping up Attack on Titan, so I want to see what the hype's about. And I would like to finish Death Note just because I want to finish what I started. Although I did get like majorly spoiled, which I must expect. The show's been over for a while. But I still want to see how at least it pans out.
The journey.
Yeah, exactly. It's not always about destination. And there were just other animes I've heard of. I have a few friends who are really into My Hero Academia.
My Hero's pretty good.
Yeah. I would say those are the main ones.
Go on.
I would say those are the main ones I'd like to watch.
I was saying to a friend when it comes to My Heroes that I think it's at least as of the current generation, it's a really good starting anime. If you're into comics or know the world of comics, because it's very superhero comic book based. And a lot of the design of it in like as an actual character design are based on superheroes already. Like there's a character that's somewhat based on the Ninja Turtles as well, like in terms of his character design, and you've got characters based like sort of on Superman and all these types of things from like the 90s and early 2000s, stuff like that. So it draws heavily in terms of the ideology of superheroes and like the character design as well. So I think that's a good jumping in point for anime if you're new to it. So I think that's a good look to get into. That and Death Note are probably really good looks for the old version of stuff and the new one as well. So I definitely kind of agree with that. Those are some really, really good choices, I think. Finally, which is kind of the backwards way that we would tend to do this on the show, before we get into things going forward, any music you've been listening to or anything of that manner?
I see the way I listen to music is quite
Passive.
actually, I don't know if it's weird. No, I do, yeah, you know what? It might be described as passive. I do like listen to music quite often, especially when I'm, doing parts of videos which I don't need to necessarily have like, a clear mind. So if I'm just drawing something or editing something really repetitive, I'll just have music on in the back. But essentially what I'll do is I'll get a song I like, and then on Spotify, I'll just right click it and go to that song radio just to hear similar songs.
Okay.
And I'll just listen to that. And I also listen to Spotify's like recommendations of weekly mixes. So I don't even really know who the artists are that I'm listening to.
You just hear stuff.
Yeah, I just hear stuff and I'm like, I like that. I like that. Although I will say last year I was really into Mac Miller. Rest in peace to him. But yeah, I started listening to his music after I was hearing a lot more about him. And I was like, yo, I really like the chill vibes. Like I would say I spend most of my time listening to like really chill music.
Okay.
So yeah, that's kind of how I listen to music generally.
Okay. So it's more vibe based than genre based. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Like if I want to get hyped, I'll look for hype music. If I just want to chill, I'll look for chill music. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if this is a me thing or possibly a generational thing, but I definitely am aware that I think a lot of younger people definitely listen to music in terms of the vibe that it has as opposed to genre or artist. Like obviously you've got people who follow artists and so on. I don't think that's ever going to stop, nor is the genre thing, but I know when I was listening to music a lot more than I was now. One, how we had to get music is different to having Spotify or Apple Music or whatever. We were still a generation that was on the radio a lot. So we didn't have that kind of choice. So we listened to a specific radio station, which gave us the genre and the vibe would adjust within that. So we had, I would say, a bit more variety in that context, but we also had less options because of how we had to listen to music. Like now there's a lot more choice involved. So I think that's something that's a factor as well. With that though, any plans for the future? Like anything different that you've got coming up, or if it's not different, what do you have coming up?
Right now I'm working on getting back into live streaming because it has been a while since I did that. My live streaming journey has been kind of interesting because in 2018, I would say that's when I really started regularly streaming. And I do like streams every weekday. And then I stopped for a little while. And in 2020, I would do like a stream every Saturday, which I tried to make a show sort of thing. But then I stopped that for a while. Yeah. It was quite fun, but also eventually got to a point where the way I did the show where I would try and get topics of things that happened on the internet in the week and talk about them. But eventually I got to a point where I was like, I don't really care about talking about this stuff, and I can't build a whole show around what YouTuber did what. Like I could never be a
news roundup type thing.
Yeah. I actually could never be a drama channel because I just be like, I don't care what YouTuber said this in the DMs. I literally no. So but now I'm gonna just do the streams a lot more chill. Just gonna play games or talk about whatever. It's gonna be a very relaxed setting. And that's what I'm working on. Like I've been going crazy on Twitch, looking at every feature they have. They've come up with an icon for channel points on my Twitch channel. So just stuff like that is what I'm looking forward to most right now. And then making videos. I've got a freaking laundry list of ideas. And essentially the way I make videos is I just go through them. Even if a video would take 3 months and then the next video would take freaking 2 minutes to make, like I just go through the list.
3 months for a video, like it makes sense. But for me, when I used to like go in and make videos, it would take me maybe sometimes a few hours, sometimes a couple of days, depending on how lazy I felt. But it like when I used to make AMVs, so that was some of the most snappy work I do because it's very syncopated. Like you get into the beat of the song and like looking for the emotion for that, like as opposed to like some people did lip syncing, which is really cool. I wanted to make music videos, like telling the story. So I have one. I'll send it to you when we finish because it's now on private on YouTube because I don't want to get any strikes. But I'll send you the link, and it's a Naruto one, and it's literally a music video. Like, it's not just clips put towards it. There's an actual journey, and it matches the lyrics. And I like things like that. And for me, I find it to my best video, but it may not be my best video beat wise and things of that manner. So yeah, making videos, it's interesting. Exactly, you say one can take 2 minutes and the other one can take a long time to do, whether it's through planning or whatever. But no, I appreciate that kind of work ethic where you've got the list that you want to go through and you work through that list. I'm not that guy a lot of the time. However, TikTok allows me to be that person because I'm restricted by time. Like literally, it's maximum a minute that you're going to get. So you need to think about what you're doing and I can make a TikTok in that minute if I do everything right the first time. Or it can take maybe 10 minutes, depending on what I'm trying to do and stuttering and whatever. So I think TikTok more so than Instagram, and I don't use Twitter at all because for Twitter, you need a following for that to really work. Instagram has kind of taken a wayside for me right now because nothing was really working. I don't understand it. Whereas right now, TikTok allows easy growth because of the For You page. So it allows you to show up anywhere as long as it's relevant and the content is simple and quick for me to make personally. I don't need to put in so much extra effort, if that makes sense. So it definitely works. I think that's good. But yes, YouTube for you, it's a place. Do you plan on expanding outside of YouTube, like talk shows or podcasting or anything of that matter?
Right. I actually have a podcast that I do with my friends as well. So we have this group effort called Unverified. And it's a YouTube channel. It's a Twitch thing. It's basically just a whole social media thing where we just come together and make videos together. We actually started it under a different name, like in 2017, but we updated it to Unverified at the beginning of 2020. And yeah, we just do it. The reason I'm into it is because, you know, being a YouTuber, you spend a lot of your time working alone and it's a lot of solo work. So that gave me an opportunity to collaborate with my friends. And the thing I like about it as well is that it's not a YouTube group where a bunch of YouTubers come together. These are my friends from school. So I actually know these people and I talk to them just generally as well.
It's organic.
And then we can, exactly. So we can come together, we can make stuff, we can talk about whatever. And so, that's something I like doing. And for a lot of the members of the group, there are about 6 of us. For them, it's just an opportunity to have a creative outlet because a lot of them, you know, a few of them do engineering, computer science. So it's very technical stuff.
So it's not their, they don't do YouTube. They're on YouTube, but it's not their.
Okay. Yeah. That's and, you know, I think that's a really important thing. Like, it's really important as a YouTuber to have friends who are not YouTubers. Because
I completely agree.
Yeah, I've seen it happen where YouTubers are only friends with YouTubers, and you put in this bubble where things seem like such a big deal because they're happening on YouTube. And then I'll talk to my friends, and they'll be like, "Sorry, who? What? What are you talking about, bro?" And it's like, yeah, it just doesn't matter, bro. So,
absolutely. Like you were talking about the drama of YouTube, sometimes like what this YouTuber did and whatever. And Player 2 got into there was something going on with makeup makeup artists and stuff like that. Like on there with whoever was doing whatever. I don't know. I know there was something with Jeffree Star.
Right. There's always something with Jeffree Star.
Exactly. And the only reason why I know the name Jeffree Star is because of the band Hollywood Undead from like back in 2008. Oh, they had a couple songs, like 1 or 2 songs together. And then I never heard from him again or whatever until people started saying his name. I was like, oh yeah, I know that name. He did this, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, this is Jeffree Star, blah, blah. And things were going on. I was like, she got into that moment when something big was going on, but she's not into YouTube that way. She just follows like Jenna Marbles, really. That's like, as far as I'm concerned, her favorite YouTuber. So she's been really sad over the past like couple of months because Jenna stopped through everything that happened. And I don't know, I don't, whatever. But yeah, like, whereas I'm very much into gaming YouTube or breakdown channels YouTube. So there isn't a lot of drama going on there.
Yeah, because they're more focused on, see, like when you have a channel where it's not necessarily personality based, it's more based on like entertainment properties, drama is a lot less likely to happen.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But I do like drama sometimes.
Yeah, everybody does, so it's fair.
I think that's where, for me, the podcast is really good, because we can cover whatever we want as long as it's related to something. So we did talk about the events of last year when that happened, and we had like a nice social discussion about it, and we talked a bit about like Captain Marvel and how people disliked Brie Larson, which is now a thing on TikTok, or was a bit of a thing. And to be fair, that's one of my videos that blew up on there. So that was like, let's do this more. But yeah, I don't do drama on YouTube. I just kind of stick to what I'm doing. But your podcast idea, I think, is really cool. I definitely agree with keeping normal friends. They definitely help keep you grounded, especially like as you get bigger. And I have no doubt that your channel is going to get bigger, which allows you to do more things.
That, man.
And be able to like your own ideas, similar to say like YouTube, like your own ideas will be what they're then going to be producing. I think that's a good thing. You are an excellent person and excellent YouTube creator.
Thank you, Megan.
So I very much appreciate that. And again, it's been a while. Hopefully we can do another one sooner than later and see the progressions we've got with the podcast, because that'll be very interesting. I'd be happy, not that you invited me, but I'd be happy to come on the podcast.
No, for sure. That would actually be very cool, man.
To do that one day, whenever that is, and like everything works out well for you. So apart from the podcast, was there anything else that you want to do a shout out for or anything of that manner?
Nothing in particular, actually. My name is Tamago2474 for anyone who doesn't know. And just come check out my channel. I won't describe it. Come check it out. You might like it. If you like it, stick around. And
you guys are gonna like it. It's hilarious. It's good. It's well done, thoughtful. It's got good humor, and that's all I'm here for. Whatever you're talking about, the humor is great. It's better if I understand it, because you've reviewed some games. I'm just like, I don't know what this is. So but the writing is really good. So I appreciate that. I'm DS Pyro. This has been another episode of the Nerds Food Podcast. That's my boy Tamago. Thank you for joining us. I'll catch you guys out. Peace.
Peace out.